Sugarteers, welcome and thank you for joining us today. Today we are talking about trust your gut, eat for satisfaction, and how we can incorporate intuitive eating into our lives and just learning more about the topic. So I'm so happy to have Cristina here with us today. Thank you, Cristina, for sharing your time. I really appreciate it. Cristina is a registered dietitian, nutritionist. She has a master's of health science degree, and she owns her own consulting business. Cristina, I would love for you to share a little bit about your passion and how it impacts the community that you serve.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. I have my own private practice and I focus on an anti-diet approach. Specifically, I cater for moms. So I focus on helping moms learn how to build respect for their bodies after it's been through changes from having kids, and to help heal their relationship with food so they no longer feel guilt and shame. And this is something that I've always focused on, not specifically on moms, but ever since I started my master's degree. My master's degree was a year and a half. So for a year and a half, I focused on intuitive eating. A lot of my projects were about body respect or intuitive eating because we had the flexibility to choose our own topics, or they were about eating disorders. I was really passionate about preventing eating disorders. I still am. So throughout my school year, I focused on that. And now within these 3 years of working as a dietitian, I've been able to just become more stronger in the topic. I learn a lot. Actually, from social media, I've learned a lot from the different perspectives of intuitive eating and the body positive movement. And I've just grown so much within this little time of starting my private practice. And nutrition is one of those topics that is ever evolving and there's always something to learn. So I never feel like things are plateaued and I know it all. I know there's always an opportunity to grow. There's always something new to learn. And so I'm always up for the challenge.
Awesome. What is your first memory with food or cooking?
Ooh, I love this. I've actually never had to think about this before. So when I do think about food when I was little, it's definitely tied to my grandmothers. Both of them were born in Italy and raised in Italy, and they moved here. And when I was younger, both of them would watch me before I started school or pick me up from school. And often we would be cooking together. So one grandmother, we'd be making homemade pasta together in the basement, all different types of pasta. You know, we would hang it over a wooden stick for it to dry. That's one kind of pasta. And then my other grandmother, I remember specifically making this marble cake that she still makes to this day, and it's the best. It's just the best marble cake. No one could ever beat it. So those are definitely the first memories I have cooking. Yeah.
Awesome. And the food is important, but that time spent with your grandmas is just even more important.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful. So during pregnancy, our bodies change. I mean, of course they change. We're growing another human being. They're going to change dramatically. So what are some effects that women may experience along this journey of pregnancy and then being a mom? And how does that relate to food, like how we eat and how we see ourselves?
Yeah, good question. So because I focus on moms and I have a lot of clients who are moms, I'm not a mom myself, but I'm learning from their experiences more and more. And with speaking with them and with research, I'm hearing that as mothers go through birthing a child, there are a lot of changes with their bodies. A lot of them say the biggest struggle is their body changing and the struggle with accepting their new body. And an even bigger struggle of having pressure to feel that they need to go back to their pre-baby body. So this is pressure from family, from friends, from society, from diet programs promoting a diet to lose weight and, you know, look like they used to look. So these are things definitely moms share with me that they struggle with. Specifically, they feel insecure about their stomachs or their thighs got bigger. And then, unfortunately, this insecurity spills into other pieces of their lives. So then they start feeling more guilt and shame around certain foods, like junk food, I often hear them say, or bad foods, often termed by diet culture. So they are now hating their body and feeling more guilt and shame around food. And these are the two pieces I work with moms to help them overcome so they can start living their lives again in their new body and respecting their new body. And unfortunately, it goes beyond the food and the body hate. It spills into how they feel about themselves when their partner comes to wrap their hands around their belly. They feel insecure about their belly. Or they miss out on making memories with their kids when their kids ask them, Mom, will you have hot chocolate with me around the holidays? And the mom feels like they can't because the diet said they can't have the hot chocolate if they want to lose weight. So there's so many pieces that this body hate and food guilt and shame effect in their lives. So I really am passionate about helping moms go be in a place where they can respect their bodies and respect that their bodies were supposed to change. Your body is not supposed to look the same as it did before having 2 kids. Our bodies were created this way to adapt, and our bodies were able to do things like have kids, and that's something that is special, and that's something that deserves respect instead of shame and guilt. So that's something that I feel is very strong in this community of moms.
And whenever a mom has these negative feelings around food, how does that impact other people in the household, especially the children?
Yeah, good question. So there's a lot of things I would say. Myself, from the perspective of a daughter, being in a household where, bodies were spoken about in terms of the goal is wanting to be thin and, doing things like exercise or eating healthy is how we get there. That coming from the older people in the household, the parents, is something that they don't intend to spill onto their kids. They may even specifically say, I've had a client say their parent said to them, this diet is just for us. It's not for you. So, you don't have to worry about this. But the child still soaks it in and puts it on themselves. The issue is that when we're children, we look up to our parents oftentimes. And so if we see our parents as these amazing people and they start questioning their bodies, then the children often start questioning their bodies, regardless if that was the parent's intention or not. And children are sponges. They absorb everything, even when you're not noticing it. So if you're someone who looks in the mirror often, says, oh, I hate the way I look in this dress, it makes me feel so fat. Your child, let's say, was behind you, they could absorb that and take that in and translate it into something in their lives. So I would say definitely talking about diet culture, or talking about your body or even other people's bodies could negatively impact other people in the household, whether you mean it or not. And I don't mean this to put blame or to put pressure on parents, on moms. I just mean this in a way that diet culture is sneaky. And diet culture did this to us, did this to parents. It's not our fault. This is what they do. They're very good at marketing. So it's not your fault, but you can do something to change it. And it doesn't need to be this way for your children. So I'm really passionate about working with moms, actually, because I know it could positively affect children and create a generation with less body hate, less eating disorders, less food guilt and shame, and try to make that our new normal. As difficult, we're definitely years and years away, but trying to, normalize all body shapes and sizes and normalize all foods.
So babies and toddlers are some of the best intuitive eaters out there. I mean, they don't want something, they're just going to throw it away right away. So what lessons can we learn from them and incorporate in our own intuitive eating journey?
Yeah, good question. So this is something I was just talking about with my clients yesterday. I mentioned that often as children, we are already intuitive eaters. Our bodies were built to tell us when we're hungry and to tell us when we're full naturally. This is actually our body's job. It's not a diet's job. It's not our job to have willpower and avoid certain foods. So one thing I say to my clients is that the goal is actually to try to get back to how we ate as children before diet culture, diet talk was exposed to us. So children are often, not all the time, but they're often able to recognize when they're hungry, ask for food, eat the food, and when they're full, they stop, even if it's not the whole bowl of food or the whole plate of food. They recognize that their body is telling them, hey, I'm full, this is when we stop, and then they move on. Whereas when we become adults, and even at young ages, children as early as the age of 4, research has shown, have already been exposed to diet culture and started, wanting to diet and start looking like a thin ideal early as age of 4. So sad. So as we get older, we're exposed to these diets, and then people and the world start telling us, okay, you need to look like this, whether you're just seeing a picture in the magazine or somebody is specifically telling you, in an ad, you need to lose weight, you do X, Y, and Z, and you'll feel your best, you'll feel confident. So when these messages start messing with our brains, that's when things get sticky. So not all people are susceptible to kind of soaking up what diets are telling us or what diet culture is telling us. Some people are just so lucky to not be affected by this, but people like myself and my clients were or are affected by this. And this is something that as a child, you're not exposed to it at a very early age. So if we could, work together as parents, future parents, whatnot, to create a home that's positive around food and body, at least there's a safe space for these children to not hear negative body talk or negative food talk. And of course, once we are brought into the world, we will be exposed, children will be exposed by diet or to diet culture, and they may still be prone to developing disordered eating or, a full-blown eating disorder. But as parents, you could start them off on the right foot and model what it's like to have a healthy relationship with your body and food.
And one thing I think of with kids, it makes them feel really good whenever they allow the child to be the expert in a way.
Right, exactly. I mean, I'm not a pediatric specialized dietitian, but I do know a little bit about, working with kids and trying to unravel picky eating and whatnot. And I've read about this a lot because it does go hand in hand with my work. And a dietitian named Ellyn Satter is kind of the first dietitian who created what you're speaking about, letting the child be the expert of their body and be a competent eater, guide their eating for the day. And this is something that is actually kind of the same for adults. I talk about this with my clients who have a 2-year-old, who have 7-year-olds, and I say to them, just like your child, how you let them try foods, and if they don't like it, you don't force them to eat it. Same thing like you. If you have a food like, let's say, an avocado, and you're saying, oh, it's really healthy, I have to eat it because it's healthy, but I don't really like it. That's not intuitive eating. You actually don't like it. You won't enjoy it. You won't be satisfied, and you'll probably go reach for something like a chocolate bar that satisfies you more. So you end up eating more. So having your kids be competent eaters is definitely aligned with my work. I have a friend who works with children, and we talk about this a lot, and we see eye to eye because it's essentially the same thing. And, you know, working with picky eaters is difficult. It's a difficult job. I've never done it, but kudos to those experts who do. And the solution in my eyes is the same thing, helping them, you know, honor their body and honor what their body's telling them instead of trying to do tricks to make them eat more. Like, oh, here comes an airplane. So it's actually getting away from those things that commonly happened.
Or like you don't leave the table until you finish your plate sort of messages.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So what is the best way for people to get in contact with you? And if they want to work with you, how can they go about doing that?
So I am most active on Instagram. My handle is at eat.with.freedom. And you could send me a DM. You can click the link in my bio to fill out my application if you are interested in working with me. That's the quickest way, just one simple click. I made it that way so it's quick and easy for you. And feel free to follow me if you are, you know, trying to change up what Instagram looks like for you. Let's say you previously have, or you have currently, a lot of before and after weight loss pictures or a lot of diets, and you're feeling like it's making you feel worse about your body. I would definitely recommend following accounts like myself and other accounts that I promote on my page, and like yours, of course, because once you actually change what you're seeing on Instagram, if this is something you're on a lot, you are actually reworking the messages and the thoughts that are coming in your head. And it could help you feel better about your body if you start to diversify your Instagram and who you're following.
My mood, I noticed it immediately change. And I also noticed some of the ads pop up change. I'm very appreciative of the content that you put out and link to and everything. It's always so fun, and it just makes you feel really good.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And one comment I wanted to say, even on your explore page, based on, you know, what you're searching or who you follow, that's also where the algorithm on social media comes in. So if you're following a few diet accounts, weight loss accounts, or fitness accounts, when you click your little magnifying glass and it's your explore page, that's what you see. That's what comes up. So I found, you know, when I started following all these other dietitians and people who are promoting what I promote, I start to see them more on my explore page. And it's really refreshing. It's the world is getting more into respecting all different body shapes and sizes. So we are seeing it more. It's just still not enough, especially for, you know, certain colors. There's a lot of white women on Instagram promoting, you know, normalized normal bodies, when we also need different body colors, black, brown. We need to see everyone, because everyone deserves body respect, and every body, every shape, every size, every color deserves to be a part of this movement. So that's something that I really try to promote on my page as well. I'm mindful about who I'm following and who I'm sharing on my account, and I do try to have a mix of everything and everyone, because I do feel that's important, and it's definitely tied with intuitive eating, with body respect. We can't just focus on one person. Again, that's kind of going back to fixating on an ideal. So an ideal is everyone, everyone is welcome. We just need to start making room for everyone.
Thank you so much for bringing that up and for talking about, you know, body love at every shape, size, color, background, everything, everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun. This was exciting. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time.